Hello and welcome to Freedom Through Astrology, where we're giving you the keys. And as you can see here, my camera is still messed up from that Zoom update. So we're just going to minimize that and put it down in the corner. This is freedomthroughastrology.com. I am your astrologer. My name is Donald Patak. Contact information, standard YouTube copyright. And welcome to a new week. And these are the keys to the reading. I do read astrology differently. So I like to give you this premise so that you understand where I'm coming from and make a decision. So here we go. First of all, I read constellational based astrology, sometimes called true sidereal astrology. In simple terms, that's astrology by the visible sky. In ancient times, astrologers were astronomers. So I'm reading the sky as if I were an astronomer and then interpreting it that way. Tropical astrology, which is what many people are familiar with, fixes the signs to seasons. And right now they're about 25-ish degrees out of alignment. So I'm reading the visible sky as it is. And with that reading the visible sky, we have a 13 or an additional sign. So there are 13 signs actually. The missing sign or the new sign is Ophiuchus, symbol of a man holding a snake by the head and the tail. In ancient times, the snake symbolized knowledge. So when you're holding it by the head and tail, controlling or using knowledge. And the stories that Ophiuchus was using knowledge to heal himself, and then ideally others with similar wounds. So it's the symbol of the wounded healer. It's a common archetype in many mythologies, actually. So yeah, there we go. And I also use the natural size of the constellations because Mother Nature in her wisdom did not create all the signs the same size. There are astrologers who make them all 30 degrees or all the same size. When in reality, if you do get a chance, you will see that Virgo in all her glory is in the realm of 50 degrees or just under 50 degrees. Scorpio, Libra, which are, we have a couple of planets in. Actually, yeah, Libra we do. Scorpio soon to be. But even Aries or Cancer, those signs are very small. They're less than 25 degrees. So constellations are all different sizes. I read that. And then I use astrological midpoints. This comes from my training with Athen Shimenti. Athen noted when he was zooming in on the IAU boundaries that, like, for example, there were stars from Scorpio on the other side of the border for Ophiuchus. And we said that's not exactly right. Scorpio should be with Scorpio. So he looked at the zodiac belt, last bright star of one constellation, first bright star of the next constellation. What's the halfway point? Go with it. I like it. I feel it's a little bit more natural. Keys to the reading, part 2. I read or I interpret what is called evolutionary astrology. These are lessons to learn. So each of the planets, signs, even the houses are teachers offering you lessons, and you have freedom of choice. I will present an ideal lesson. It's and then there's the shadow. That's where you decide to do something else. So you have freedom of choice, and the divine, whatever you happen to believe in, will respect that. And this is the weekly edition. These are the universal lessons for everybody. So do have some compassion on your fellow ground pounders down here. Dates and times are based on the Eastern U.S. time zone, as I live outside of Buffalo, New York. I'm operating within 1 degree of exact, which is when it will be most intense. I have looked at these wider, and I get overwhelmed. And if I'm overwhelmed, you're lost. So, yeah. So I'm operating when these energies will be most intense. Yes, you'll feel them a little bit more and a little bit after. And the software that I use, because I do get asked this, is Capricorn by Prometheus. Hold on a second, water break or tea break. So here we go. Weekly transits for the week of October 20th through 26th, 2025. We do have our sun in Virgo still. Like I said, Virgo is a large constellation, so the sun is transiting through Virgo and taking its time doing it. We do have the moon, begins the week in Virgo and ends in Sagittarius. So yeah, it actually kind of is that busy. I mean, it gets into Sagittarius on Sunday, and so it's Monday, Tuesday, and into Wednesdays in Virgo, but then it goes into Libra. The end of the week, it does get more intense because it gets into Libra, then it jumps a day-ish into Scorpio, then a day-ish into Ophiuchus, and then it's into Sagittarius. So do look for the weekend to be a little bit more emotionally intense or energetic. We do have a new moon this week on Tuesday. It's the new moon in Virgo, and it's happening. I forgot to put this in there. You had it into my notes, but at 6:36 in the morning, we will hit that. Our active planets of this week. Number one, Mercury. The week is not as busy as last week with transits, but number one inner planet that's the most active is Mercury, and then the Sun and Mars jump in each with a transit, I believe. And then in the outer planets, we have Uranus, as my friend Maria calls him, Uncle Dave, but Uranus is still playing his cards, less an individuality there. And Jupiter joins us in for a long transit. Jupiter's been kind of quiet, which is rather unusual for it, but Jupiter does jump in. And on our retrograde parade, we have Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and the asteroid Chiron, all retrograde. Oh, that's just a weather notification. Going to be raining out here again. So here we go. As you can see, I did make, if you get my newsletter, you're going to notice that this looks a little bit different. And I realized I screwed it up. I was not having a good weekend. Kit got sick, and I'm not sure where she's hiding on me. But nonetheless, here we go. I made my doodle tool. Anything above this dotted line is an old transit. But let's take a look at the moon. Like I said, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We're in Virgo Wednesday morning and into Thursday, early Friday. Actually, yeah, this is late morning on Wednesday. I think it's around noonish, if I remember off the top of my head. We jump into Libra, so middle of the week, Libra, and then early on Friday, Scorpio, early on Saturday, Ophiuchus, early on Sunday. So improvement, paradox, emotional depth, time to heal, and then time for something new. We do have the new moon on Tuesday morning at 6:36 a.m. Eastern time. Your mileage may vary. No planets changing signs this week, which is nice. And as you can see, we are still dealing, like I said, with this Uranian outer transit. We still have Jupiter and Chiron carrying on from last week. And the beginning of the week, we are finishing up that Mercury Mars conjunction. But as we get down here below the dotted line, these are the new transits. You can see dominant, more Mercury energy. So opening your week up to learning and communication, taking the time for that, very important. And then we do, like I say, have Mars, and then the Sun. So it's kind of a calmer week, but energetically just a little bit different. What else was I going to say? Gosh, there was something. Oh, the other thing, our other dominant energies, you can see, let me clear this out so I'm not making a total mess of this. For the new transits, you can see a lot of trines, a lot of support. So that's an easier energy to work with. And plus, even with the older transits, we do have the trine and the sextile. Again, those are two easier energies to work with. Squares are challenges that are meant to strengthen you. So, there's that. Conjunctions, flip a coin. I still haven't figured out. Well, they all have upsides and downsides, but nonetheless, let me clear these drawings. So this is our week. I mean, we get a good pause in the beginning of the week outside of lunar changes. And then towards the end of the week, things do pick up. So, which is a good thing, I guess. So, still carrying on, Uranus is going to be dragging this out. This is all retrograde. Forgot to fix up that other slide again. So again, I just want to do something. I got to move this taskbar out of my way. There we go. So we do have Uranus in Taurus. Uranus is the planet teaching you individuality and authenticity. And in Taurus, finding that peace and inner strength. But because this is retrograde, it's a time of reflection and inner work. And it's lifestyle, finding an interest as you become more at peace with who you really are. This helps you become, Neptune in retrograde in Pisces. Well, Neptune in Pisces is a simple lesson. Don't just do something, be there. Neptune in Pisces is teaching you to be present. So literally, quite honestly, what you're doing here as you're becoming more at peace with who you are, it helps you to respond or be more in the present moment because you're not thinking about the future. You're not regretting the past. And granted, reflecting on the past is always good. You're learning to be who you are in this moment. And in the shadow here, Uranus is you not being you. So it's you're either acting out to get a reaction or selling out. And again, internally, it's that internal rebellion. We all know that I work as a school teacher, and I'll tell a student, sit down. And the kid will sit down, and you look at him in his face, and he's like, yeah, I may be physically sitting, but inside I'm jumping around your library like a maniac. But it's pointless rebellion or selling out. And instead of finding peace, it's you're stuck in the mud, stuck in a rut. And Neptune in Pisces is trying to escape the pain, or trying to escape or numb the pain, or okay, kitten, get down here. Your kitten commercial this is the tuxedo ankle biter. It's the runt of the litter, and it kind of bothered to me. Sorry about that. You're trying to escape and numb the pain of you not being you. And because these are both retrograde, this is all happening inside. So you're facing the fact that you're not being who you are and trying to find some way of ending the pain. And this is going to be going on through December 17th. These will go station direct and forward before then, I believe. I don't have that notebook open right now. And again, from way back in August, Uranus and Taurus trining Pluto retro, they're both retrograde again. I forgot to put the retrograde in there. But we have that again. And again, Pluto, wait a minute. Pluto is no longer retrograde. Pluto is actually station direct. I really got to fix up this slide. I had that written in my notes. Oh, well. So as you're doing that work, you're like, am I being authentic? Am I being who I really am? And find a piece of that. That is supporting you doing that work of transformation. Pluto, everybody thinks Pluto is like a bad planet. Pluto's a wonderful planet. It's about doing transformation, and in Capricorn, doing that great work. So as you realize who you really are inside, Pluto says, let me help you do the work of actually becoming that person. So that inner realization of who you are helps you to supporting your ability to actually become that person. The shadow here, of course, as you become fake, Pluto, instead of being healing, becomes wounding. And that leads to loneliness, isolation, cynicism, pessimism. And so when you're being fake, you're that pointless rebel, or you're selling out, that just leads to deeper wounding and feelings of loneliness. And then this started back last week, 15th. It's exact on the 21st, 23rd, and leaves November 4th. How are we almost at the end of October? God, where does the time go? Jupiter in Gemini is squaring Chiron retrograde in Pisces. So Jupiter in Gemini is the opportunity to learn, opportunity to communicate. And the key here with Gemini is paying attention. So as you're gaining awareness of where you are and you're learning those lessons, this squares are opportunity. A lesson here is to strengthen. It's a challenge that's there to strengthen you. Think of the pyramids. They've lasted that long, not because they're triangles. When you get up close to them, they're squares. And all those bricks are put together on 90-degree, perfect 90-degree angles. So, and the purpose there again is to strengthen. What is that strengthening? Chiron is the asteroid of healing. It's as you're gaining these informations, you're taking the opportunity to learn. This is helping you and strengthening your ability to heal and understand wounds and perceive them from a higher perspective, Pisces, and also release them. Pisces helps you to release. So this is part of kind of your healing journey here, really, the opportunity to heal. Now, the shadow here, Jupiter is the crisis of confidence, whether it's overconfident and underconfident. Gemini can be that know-it-all, I can't learn it all, distracted, just mind 90 miles an hour going everywhere, or just not wanting to go anywhere at all, honestly. And Chiron in the square is a crushing burden. So as this crisis of confidence about what you know or your ability to learn crushes or wounds or crushes, becomes a crushing burden on your ability to heal. And it can even deepen the wounds. And in Pisces, you're just looking to hide away from them, deny them, numb the pain, anything you can do to deal with it. And there we go. And from last week, we do have the moon in Virgo. Emotionally, you're up for a challenge and to do something new. Improve yourself and improve your emotional abilities, your emotional intelligence. And emotionally accepting responsibility as well. And the shadow here is you can feel overwhelmed with worry and being too self-critical. Either one leads to feelings of pessimism and inaction. If you can't succeed, why bother trying? Ideal of Virgo is improvement. And in the shadow, it's holding yourself up to this perfectionist ideal that nobody's been able to meet. So it's unrealistic expectations, and it just leads to feelings of failure. And also from Saturday, we have Mercury conjunct Mars. So Mercury, the planet of learning, joining Mars, learning courage and assertiveness. So you're learning to be more courageous, more assertiveness, and in Libra, and able to accept and tolerate paradox and ambiguity. Also, Libra can be about finding peace in strange ways, the strangest ways, who knows? It's in my notes. Sorry. But yeah, this is actually learning courage. If you wanted a simple message here, you're learning courage and being able to tolerate ambiguity in situations and remember with the Libra is the scales, and from science class, when you put your thing you're weighing on one end, you started adding the weights on the other end, you're trying to figure out how much it weighs, the scales would go up and down. So you're learning to have the courage to deal with ambiguity in uncertain situations. And ideally, as you're learning this, you gain insights that lead to paradigm shifts to help you become, find more courage and stronger, etc. Let's see. And it strengthens your ability to work with uncertainty as well. Now, the shadow here is Mercury is an out of control mind. And that conjoined with the shadow of Mars, fear. And fear can come across as anger or cowardice. But just even fear, behind every corner, there's someone who's going to jump you or something. This is mental anxiety. And in Libra, okay, that message can wait. That just leads you to being blindsided to the wonders of the world around you. Mental confusion can fuel fear and uncertainty, and just a repeating cycle. Just your life, everything gets out of balance, and it just becomes this. What are those cats fighting over now? Your life just gets out of balance, and it just gets to be a mess. All right. And so Monday, we start the week. Take a breath, take a break. Inhale, hold, exhale, repeat. And I think we could use it after this weekend. Tuesday, new moon in Virgo. And remember, Virgo is an improvement, and the sun is becoming more emotionally skilled, more emotional intelligence. That's the moon. The sun is you becoming a better version of yourself. If you want to know how you what better version you are, like for example, I'm a Taurus. How can I be more skilled at being a Taurus sun? So, but these two together are about gaining emotional intelligence and in your own core identity, and look at how you can be better at being you. Take time to see how those two parts can be in alignment and supporting each other, and look deep within yourself for new ideas, new inspiration. And this can be a time of emotional of healing as well. Some of the reading I've been doing says the journey of the moon is the journey of healing. So how can realistic expectations help you heal your identity and help you understand yourself even better? Now, the shadow here, remember, we're dealing with Virgo, is pessimism and unrealistic expectations. The moon gets moody. The sun gets egotistical in various ways. Either it wants to shine too bright, don't tell me what to do, I know it all, or I am that great, or it's that dark star that doesn't want to be seen and tries to hide away. So this emotional anxiety, or whatever you want to call it, feeds the false ego and the unrealistic expectations, and have you feeling that everything can be impossible, or that you've already done it, so why bother? And life can be seen as one big series of missteps and mistakes. Wednesday, the moon enters Libra. And this is a time to emotionally take a breath and take a break, open up to different points of view and perspectives, and learn to see things from these different perspectives as well, and being emotionally able to accept paradox. I always say, humanity wants the question of 2 + 2 = what? Life is going to hand you X + Y = 4. And you're expected to figure out which one of those is the correct answer. But you know what you kind of know the outcome. You just have to figure out how to get there. So it's being emotionally able to accept paradox, deal with it, and just say that, you know what, it's going to work out in the end and be fine. The shadow here is slipping into indecision, can lead to poor choices. You giving your power away, your life seems out of balance and out of whack. Thursday, we have the sun in Virgo squaring Pluto in Capricorn. Yes, so the sun in Virgo, you're becoming that better version of yourself, and it's supporting your ability to do that work. So I say the sun in Virgo is you making the plan, and Pluto in Capricorn saying, okay, great, let's do it. Let's do that work of transforming to help you become that better version of yourself. So that honest self-evaluation can help you with the work of transformation. And focusing on your destiny and purpose in a way can help you with that deep inner work. Realistic expectations can help with taking actions towards achieving them. So it's having a realistic knowing what you want to become, having a realistic outcome, and knowing that you can do the work to achieve it. The shadow here is collapsing into that false identity, leads to feeling of emptiness and meaninglessness and impossibility. Unrealistic expectations feed self-criticism. Perfectionism can fuel feelings of loneliness and isolation, and life can just seem like a crushing burden. And yeah, when you're dealing with, and these are my 2 GSD signs, get stuff done. You want something done, find someone with strong Virgo energy or strong Capricorn energy. And here we have 2 planets in both of them and trying to work together. And quite honestly, yeah, they can work together, honestly. And it can have a great outcome. And also on Thursday, this gets to be a little interesting. We have Mercury in Libra trining Jupiter in Gemini. So Mercury in Libra, being open-minded, and able to accept information from different perspectives supports the opportunity for learning. Yeah, I'm just going to go with that. Yeah, opening up to higher experiences can help open the mind to the world around you. And trying as a support, it's an easy energy. A little bit goes a long way. The shadow here is being mentally indecisive, fuels a crisis in confidence. Whether you're the know-it-all or can't do it, or you can't think, you can't succeed at all, whatever. But that being unfocused, intellectualizing everything, fuels that crisis in confidence. It leads to mistakes and meaningless outcomes. Or mental laziness can fuel wasting of energy and wasting of time on meaningless activities. I mean, just being scatterbrained. Too many irons in the fire, going nowhere fast. And these are both, yeah, these are both air signs, so it's very mental as well. Yeah, a lot of mental energy here. So, how are you going to mentally focus yourself? Tolerating, being open to new ideas, being able to accept these different perspectives supports your ability to learn. Let's go with that. Friday, moon enters Scorpio, emotional depth. Time to look into the depths of your soul here and face the deep truths of life, as uncomfortable or as unsettling as they can be. Scorpio likes truth and wants you to discover it and explore your own deep truths. Honesty can be beneficial. Be willing to face those intense moments and look deeper in life. What do you really want emotionally? How do you want to feel? Why? Explore that. The shadow here is the proverbial rotten mood and refusing to feel at all. And it can make life much more complicated than it needs to be. And on Friday, Mercury in Libra is trining Saturn retrograde. So, being open-minded can support you doing, Saturn is hold on a second. Excuse me. Saturn likes to get stuff done. It's the planet of hard work, honestly. Yeah, it's a planet of maturity. So as you're opening up to new perspectives, new ideas, this is helping you doing the inner work of growth and maturity, and be able to see this information from a higher perspective, understand it. Also, this has been called, Saturn in Pisces has been called spiritual maturity, which I fully agree with, and I can see it and support that. You're using self-discipline, you're building your integrity and self-respect as well. So being open to perspectives helps you to mature. This shadow here is being that scatterbrained and indecisive person, leads to failure and control issues, pessimism, and feelings of failure or despair. Blinding yourself to the wonders of the world feeds fear. Or insincerity and laziness leads to distractions, wasting time, and just wanting to hide away or numb the pain. Again, ick. Kind of just on an aside, if I were using wider degrees to make them accurate, to make things more accurate, not more accurate, but a wider orb, we would have a grand trine here. And then this is an air sign. This is interesting. This is an air sign. This is an air sign. Granted, this is a water sign. No way around that. But this is a grand trine where they all are supporting each other. We are getting ready for a Jupiter-Saturn trine in the next couple of weeks, which is going to be very powerful. But this is you being open-minded, supporting the opportunity to grow and mature. I'm just going to clear that out. And it's a little far off, not within that 1 degree of exact. So it's going to be there. You'll feel it. It's a good opportunity. Saturday, TGI Saturday. Emotionally, you're ready to calm down, take time to heal, to learn to heal, be open to healing. And learning how to take care of your emotional needs and learn from healers and teachers that can help you. So this is where you're learning to heal. The shadow here is refusing to heal. And when you refuse to heal, you're just wounding yourself. And if you're wounding yourself, it's likely you're wounding others. Misery loves company. And this can be intended to be either accidentally or intentionally hurting others. Remember, the snake is knowledge. So are you using knowledge either to heal yourself and heal others or wound yourself and wound others? No ifs, ands, or buts. Sunday, the moon enters Sagittarius. Sunday, fun day, yay. Time to open up to fresh insights or something that piques or interests you and something new and exciting and new opportunities. Open up to the world. Sagittarius is the fun sign. You want to have fun, find someone with a lot of Sagittarius energy. They can be a little good jokesters, funny people. But it's time emotionally to open up and cut loose just a little bit. Find some excitement. The shadow here is originally defending the status quo and becoming self-righteous, and it leaves you stuck and feeling stuck, unfulfilled, and in a meaningless past. Doing what we did this week because it's what we did last week, and we'll do the same thing next week. Emotionally, you feel bored. And we have Mars in Libra trining Jupiter. So the courage to deal with uncertainty supports opportunity to learn. So having courage and assertiveness can result in meaningful victories. Nice word for Jupiter there, victory. Jupiter is opportunity, but it's opportunity can lead to victory if you take it. And help you develop a healthy faith and belief in yourself. That can help support your taking actions now and help you developing your potential as well. Working with ambiguity and being willing to be diplomatic can result in unexpected information and insights that can help fuel success. Like I said, we're dealing with two air signs, and air signs deal with knowledge. And what are you dealing with? What are you doing with it? So Mercury's learning communication, and not Virgo, I'm sorry, Libra is gaining perspective. So how is gaining perspective helping you to learn? Now, the shadow here is falling into fear or anger. And that fuels a crisis in confidence. And you can be that angry person who's like, I know what I'm talking about. You don't tell me what. Or it can be that coward who, like, I know what I'm talking about, but I don't want to speak up and say anything. I know they're wrong, but too much of a coward to say anything. Can manifest different ways, but fear, falling into fear can create a crisis of confidence and fuel it and play out in pointless a sense of victimhood, and foolish decisions can fuel that fear and leave you feeling out of balance, disorganized, purposeless. That getting into that fear just fuels a mess, and it's a mental mess that leaves you feeling out of balance and confused. Yeah. And this is where we're going to end this week and begin next week. So thank you very much. If you like this, you can follow me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. I'm on all of them. If you're watching this, it is on YouTube. I'm also on the Digital Soul Space, which is these three companies here are making billions of dollars from your data. You're not getting anything. Digital Soul Space is hosted on the Mighty Networks, which allows you to control how your data is used, who gets access to it, whether everybody's collecting your data. Digital Soul Space says, here's the data, but we're not going to tell you whose it is. So you can't make any real meaningful decisions with it. They're really good about that, but I call it the spiritual corner, the safe spiritual corner of the internet, safe spiritual space of the internet. For moderators, troll-free zone. I do astrology, but there are people who talk about crystals, tarot, oracle decks, wide variety of spiritual perspectives. Kit. There's Kit. Wide variety of spiritual perspectives. You got a question, ask someone, and people will share what they know. They're getting ready to do their 33 days of gratitude, which is really cool. 33 days of helping you to appreciate the simple things in life. There's a free version, which gets you limited access, but then there's a paid version, which is only $1.99 a month. Uh, Less than a cup of coffee, but you get access to the full site. These ones, yeah, granted, you're getting access to anything and everything, but you're paying for it in a different way. So there's that. I do readings. I do a quick six. If you want to see how your chart changes, quick six gets you 6 key points to help you understand a solid foundation. Beyond that, I do a birth chart or the natal chart, whichever you want to call it. This is your birth contract. This is the person you came here to become. So it's the end line. If you become this person, yeah, you've had a good life. I do a karmic chart or a past life reading. We have these patterns that appear. And this reading helps you understand what those patterns are, how they came into existence. If you believe in past life, this is a past life showing up in this life that you came here to heal and how to heal it. If you don't believe in past lives, you're one and done. This is a special lesson that you signed up for. But this is a karma. This is how you heal your karma. And I also do the horoscopes, transiting to your birth chart, how you learn those life lessons. And I do it any 1 year, any 12 months in a row, 3 months, any 3 months in a row, or 1 month. It can be the first of the month, the last of the month, or I like to do it new moon to new moon because that's the natural cycle. And I do have packages, 4 different letters or 4 different levels that combine these with a 10% discount built in. Do like, follow, and share. Sign up for the newsletter. If you do go to my website, you'll get the pop-up. All I need is an email address, and you get a once-a-week newsletter sharing all this information and other insights not shared necessarily shared with this. I do have a blog page. It's also where you can do orders and place your orders on the services or mostly on the services or on the scheduling. I apologize. It's been a rough week. Kit got sick over the weekend, and I've been playing dad to a cat, so I'm really exhausted and burned out. But do thank you for your patience with this. Like, follow, share, sign up for the newsletter. And in the visible sky, your life changes. Have the best week possible.